Now, and so indirectly Balban was ruling. So if we go with the tenure of Balban, then we will find that Balban had ruled 40 years. First 20 years as a guardian of Nasruddin. Nasruddin was unable to take any decision. So Balban was actually taking all the decisions. From 1246 to 1266, Balban worked as a novel and guardian of Nasruddin. And Balban killed his son-in-law Nasruddin, and then after Balban captured the power, and Balban started to rule independently from century 1266 till 1286. And Balban was one of the powerful sultan of slave dynasty. Balban knew that nobles are big trouble for him, and that is why he had crushed the power of nobles. He broke the group of 40 nobles which was formed by Iltutmish, and he asked all the nobles and everyone that they must be loyal to the sultan, and he asked the nobles that they must follow sajda and pabos, means they will come, bow their head, put their head on the feet of sultan and kiss the feet. This system is started by Balban. Why? Because he wanted to make a feeling that sultan is above everyone among the nobles, and he succeeded in his trick. Achievements of Balban: he reformed army, he made people and nobles to be loyal to the sultan, he introduced efficient spy system. He made that all believe that sultan is the representative of God on earth, means he believed in divine theory. He followed blood and iron policy against Mongols as well as against the Thebes, who were creating problems to the travelers and businessmen. So Balban died in 1286 century. After him, his successor were not capable, and in 1290, the last sultan of slave dynasty was killed. He was Kakubad, and he was killed by Jalaluddin Khilji. And after that, Sultanate passed into the hand of Khiljis. Jalaluddin Khilji, he was the founder of Khilji dynasty, and he was killed by Alauddin Khilji. He was nephew. Alauddin Khilji was nephew and son-in-law of Jalaluddin, but he had been killed. After Jalaluddin Khilji, Alauddin Khilji's tenure started. Alauddin was one of the powerful sultan of Khilji dynasty. Alauddin wanted to become second Alexander. He wanted to conquer whole India. And now we will discuss the conquest of Alauddin. As already I said that he wanted to conquer whole India, that is Gujarat. Alauddin sent a troop under Ulugh Khan and Nasrat Khan to defeat the king Karan Dev. They defeated the king Karan Dev, and in this way Gujarat annexed by Alauddin Khilji. After that, Alauddin moved towards Rajasthan. He captured in century 1301, he captured Ranthambore, 1303 Chittorgarh, means in few years almost all the states of Rajasthan surrendered. But Alauddin did not annex any of the states, and he made the rulers to rule, but he also made it compulsory for them that every year they will pay annual tribute to him. Alauddin conquered Malwa and annexed Malwa under his direct control. Next, Deccan and South India, Alauddin's general. And one more thing, that when he sent troops against the ruler of Gujarat, from there his sepoys brought a slave to Alauddin Khilji, and that slave was actually bought for 1,000 dinars. So that slave was known as Hazar Dinari, and he was Malik Kafur. Later on, Malik Kafur became one of the trusted general of Alauddin Khilji. Alauddin's dream to capture Deccan and South India was fulfilled by Malik Kafur. Malik Kafur had defeated Yadavas of Devagiri, Hoysals of Dwar Samudra, Kakatiyas of Warangal, and Pandyas of Madurai. Alauddin was not only a great general but was also a great administrator. In that time, Alauddin had expanded his empire too much, and he had a very big army, and he did not pay very high salary to the army, and he knew that in less salary how they can survive. If the army will be not able to survive, then they will revolt against him. That is why he introduced some reforms, economic reforms in the economic reforms. What the Alauddin did in administration, the gifts and jagirs which were given to the nobles were taken by the government. Marriages and drinking on public were forbidden. And he appointed efficient spy system. Actually, he knew that the nobles are the main conspirator, and if they will get chance to mingle, to meet, then they will do conspiracy against him. That is why he introduced these kinds of restrictions against nobles. Revenue, he introduced revenue reforms also. He fixed the revenues. In some places, just like Ganga Yamuna Doab, 1/2 of the revenue collected by him. Because it was very highly productive area, he introduced Chehra, means description of all the sepoys, and Dag system means branding of horses. Economic reforms. He had fixed the prices of essential goods. He appointed officers who will check the price and weight of the goods. If any businessman tried to take extra charge or tried to give less weight, was severely punished by the administration. Art and architecture. Alauddin was also fond of art and architecture. During his tenure, there were two great scholars were in his court, Amir Khusro and Amir Hassan Dahlvi. He built Alai Darwaza and he established a new city, Siri, near Delhi, and constructed Hauj Khas, a big water tank in Delhi. After that, the Tughlaq dynasty ruled in India, and it was actually formed by Ghayasuddin Tughlaq. He was actually Ghazi Malik, but as soon as he became the Sultan of Delhi Sultanate, he assumed the title Ghayasuddin Tughlaq and started to rule. But unfortunately, he died by fall of a pavilion. Actually, it was a pre-planned, and this was planned by his nephew Muhammad bin Tughlaq. And after that, the powers came into the hand of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Muhammad bin Tughlaq was a very learned man. He had knowledge of many subjects and topics, but he was not a good administrator. Why? And he had been called foolish sultan by the historians. Why did historians call him foolish sultan? Because of his wrong policies. What were his wrong policies? First is, he introduced taxation in Doab. Means he introduced tax in Doab. Doab means the fertile region, which was actually, obviously it was a fertile region, and he increased the tax base. But this was implemented in wrong time. When the people of Doab were suffering from severe famine, that time his officers forced the people of Doab to pay tax. Many farmers, cultivators, they left their land and places and went to other places. When this news reached to Muhammad bin Tughlaq, then he tried to help them. He distributed seeds, money and cattle, everything, but it became too late. So this was a failure of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. After that, another policy of him was transfer of capital. Muhammad bin Tughlaq was not far-sighted like Alauddin Khilji. Muhammad bin Tughlaq wanted to rule South India, and he wanted to protect Delhi from the Mongol invasion. That is why he decided he will shift his capital from Delhi to Devagiri. Devagiri actually renamed Daulatabad. It was almost 708 miles far away from Delhi, and he thought from Daulatabad he could control both North as well as South India and will be protected from the Mongols. On the way, when the journey is on the way, many people, thousands of people were died. Millions of rupees is spent on the construction of roads, sarais and to dug wells. As soon as anyhow the people reached there and they settled down. After 2 years, he realized that it is not easy to rule and to protect Delhi from the Mongols. Delhi is vulnerable for the Mongol invasion. Again he decided to return back to Delhi. So this, and again in this way, he asked his inhabitants to return back to Delhi, and this also caused death of many people. It was also a big failure of Muhammad bin Tughlaq. Next, introduction of token currency. As you know that he introduced, he asked to shift capital, and because of his policies, the treasury got empty, and it was very difficult to manage the administration. That is why he decided he will introduce a copper coin which value will be equal to gold and silver coin. But it affected the economy because the businessman and the others, they rejected to accept copper coin, and he did not make it sure that the copper coins will mint by the administration. And many goldsmith and ironsmith minted the copper coins, and later on what happened? It affected the economy badly. Again he said to submit all the copper coins and in return take gold and silver coins. And this policy was also a big failure of him, and it affected the treasury.